Welcome to episode 11 of the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club. Merry Christmas to you all. We're getting really close now, and we are continuing our festive reading today by having a discussion and taking a look at Klaus from Boom Studios in 2015. For those joining us for the first time, we are the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club. Every week we host a discussion and take a look at a different comic book story arc. And when we do that, I am joined by co-hosts who are here. And we have Shane from the YouTube channel Dawn of Comics.
Ahoy, hoy.
We have Phil from Comics, Gaming and Figures on YouTube.
Hey, everyone.
And we have Scott from Scott Shelf right here on YouTube too.
Hello.
How are you, chaps?
All good. I think Phil and I are in the wrong place.
Do you feel strange when you're not in your usual spots? Like, that will mean nothing to people on the podcast.
No, on the
sound in
line,
the
we
same place.
have our own square, and I'm the bottom right square.
Oh, do you want me to? Would you like me to move you? Would that
Yes,
make you feel more
please.
comfortable? Okay, hold on. There we go.
Ah,
Hey,
I do
He's
prefer
home.
to be on top, to be honest.
Charlie, is that you?
Before we get into it, just a reminder for those that are listening on the podcast, if you want to come down and join us for the live show, you'll find the link in the description of the podcast there. So you'll find out how to get to us, or check us out on Instagram, the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club. Right, now we know what we're reading. Now we've met everybody here. Let's meet the herd who are here for this Wednesday. We have Sean, the noob. Evening, peeps. Evening to you, Sean. We've got Tom this month in movies. We have Amy, evening all. Hello to you, Amy. Is that it? No. The comments are jumping on me again. I hate it when it does this jumping thing. We have Liam here as well. Good evening to you, Liam. Just scrolling down there, make sure that is everyone. MJ Comics, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you as well, boys. Hope you're doing well. If anyone watching likes the CGC stuff and everything, go check out MJ Comics. They have some bangers. Oh, I'm doing this again. Why am I doing this
Air
again?
quotes.
No, made me air quote MJ Comics, man. Ah,
sound dirty.
I feel dirty. Yeah. Liam is saying the way Scott's wearing his hat makes him look like an elf.
I was wearing it like this at the start. This is
Scott
how I was
shelf
wearing.
on the shelf.
Scott
Yeah.
Shelf. Scott Self on the shelf.
Scott's elf on the shelf, yeah. We have Perpetual Comics joining us as well. Phil likes it on top. He does indeed. And we got my friend Greg. Greg is an old friend of mine. There he is. How you
Hello,
doing, Greg? Hope you're
Hey,
well,
Greg.
mate.
Was he born in 1756? Or?
No, I don't think so. No.
That's just his pin number.
That's when we met.
His pin number. Okay then, folks. Do you know what? I can't remember whose turn it is to do the synopsis. So why I am thinking on my feet right now, I will let everybody know. If you want to come and join us on the Nerd Herd, and by join us, I mean on screen here, and have a discussion about a story arc you have picked, we're going to make that happen. You guys are really important to us. You are part of the herd, and every 5th week, because we all take it in turns in which stories to pick, we're going to let you choose which story that we read, and you will have the opportunity to come on here with us and join the discussion. You don't have to. Don't make a mistake. No one's going to force you to if you don't want to. But as an added bonus, there will be a giveaway as well. So next week, we will probably ask you to shout out your story arcs. We will pull one at random. We will randomly select it, and you will win some goodies and the opportunity to come and join us on the 30th of December with the first one. Last one of the year.
Nice.
Not a good
Nice.
idea. They are going to torture us. You know this.
Secret Wars 2, it's coming.
The comic deal isn't in here, right? So I think you'll be all right. You'll be okay.
He's blocked. We've blocked him, right? He's not allowed to.
So there you go. I'm looking forward to that. I think
That'd be
it's
great.
really nice, to get more people involved and reading these books and stuff, and all discovering these comics together. I've said it before, like the Wednesday really is my highlight of my week, sitting down with all you lot and talking comics.
Oh, cute.
I see Shane, your brother's in. I request Secret Wars 2. He's getting it in early. We're
Blocked.
gonna have to wait until next week. Okay, then. So synopsis. I still can't remember who it was.
I'll go.
Is it Scott's turn? Right,
I'll
Scott.
go. I
then.
think it is my
The
turn. Yeah.
synopsis for Klaus from Boom
Yes.
Studios 2015. Please, sir.
The synopsis for Klaus. So it's basically, I don't want to say a retelling. It's just like some sort of imagining of what Santa Claus's origin story would be like. The gist of the story is that he grew up in this town. He got kicked out of this town. He lived in the wild for years, and then this town couldn't have any fun, and they couldn't have any toys. So he took it upon himself to be really sneaky and stealthy and go around and just giving toys to all these kids, and people are trying to stop him, and then he finds himself towards the end of the story, and it's awesome, and I absolutely loved it. Written by Grant Morrison, drawn by Dan Mora, who for this book won an award. He won the Russ Manning Most Promising Newcomer Award in 2016.
Wow, somebody's been doing their research. Well done to you, buddy.
Dan Mora fanboy here.
I love Dan Mora. Like, I was so happy. I loved the whole book. That's me done. 10 out of 10. No, I'm joking.
That's a great synopsis, to be honest. It kind of is a kind of it's not the origin, like the origin, but it's a kind of a reimagining, isn't it, of kind of Santa in another world. And which we'll get to that. I've got some questions about that. Maybe you guys can answer for me. So the demon.
Start with the demon, Scott.
Oh yeah, wasn't
that like the whole end?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Who was that? Wasn't that like Krampus or something? I don't know. Just Krampus.
I just want to say hello to Comic Deal, who's joined us as well.
Hello.
Nice of you to make it, Jim.
Right then, so let's start the discussion about Klaus, what we liked, what we didn't like, and of course at the end we will give this a score out of 10. We will take an average from ourselves. We'll take an average from you guys in the chat here, and we'll see where it falls on our Nerd Herd leaderboard, which is now vastly becoming the go-to place for cool comics. Said no one ever.
I said every week.
Hello to Slim Comics as well. Thanks for joining us, mate. Okay, so who's going to go first this time? Shane, you seem to know whose turn it is. Is it Phil's turn this time or yours?
I think it's Phil's turn. Yeah.
Come on then, Phil.
All right. Let me start off. I'll just say that I actually read the physical book for this because I bought it recently. I haven't read this before, but I was always going to read this at Christmas time because I wanted to get into it because I heard it was very good. So whenever it was decided upon that we were going to do Christmas themed books, this was my pick, and I was like, yes, I want to read this. I probably got more out of it with the physical book because it is quite premium. Like, it's just like
that is not are those golden.
Yeah, that's like a Bible, like a golden kind of pages.
Do they call that gilded pages?
I think it is. Yeah, I think so. But even the paper qualities is really thick and quality. Anyway, I'm not.
Stop getting chills.
No, rest in peace, bank account. Here we come.
I actually ordered the second volume or whatever after I read this because I did love this book from start to finish, cover to cover. That was great. I do have some gripes about it though, and I don't want to fall out with Scott. He's a big Dan Mora fan.
Don't you dare.
However, I've written down some cons. I don't know about everyone else. I found the art very inconsistent almost. Yeah. Like some of the children were very cartoony in some scenes and not so much on other scenes.
Do you know what it was for me, Phil? I sat there and thought the same thing as you, and I was like, why? I couldn't put my finger on it. And for me, I thought it was when the panels were like far away, when they was like zoomed out, the perspective was quite far away. I found those were the inconsistent ones for me. I don't know. Is that what you're getting at, or was yours something different?
It is kind of like, for example, Jonas is the son of the Baron or the evil Baron of the village. And Jonas at the start, he looked different than he did at the end. Yeah. I don't know if it was intentional because essentially what happened with Jonas is throughout the book, he's obviously a spoiled little brat and he then learns how to play with toys. So he becomes like a nicer kid. So I don't know if it was like intentional to make him more
I think
softer.
it was because his dad, Baron, is it Magnus?
Magnus,
Yes.
Yeah, he looks like he becomes more grotesque as the book goes
Yeah.
on. I did grab a screenshot as well. So like by the end,
I love this page.
he's kind of looking real grim like that at the bottom, isn't he? So I wonder if it went the other way with the kid then. Like as the kid's getting less bratty, he kind of like changes.
That was me trying to find an excuse because I did love the art. I'm not saying it was bad. It was good from start to finish. Some of it was better than others. The thing too, like I've read some Grant Morrison stuff before, and before I read this, I kind of felt like I had to get into the mood. But sometimes you need to be in a Grant Morrison mood to read Grant Morrison. But this was really tame for his standards, I thought. Almost like he'd done it like without any influences whatsoever. He was just his normal sober self writing a book.
Yeah.
And I thought it was fantastic. I loved it.
It did seem like he put the crack pipe down that day, didn't it?
Yeah. I was going to say that. Yeah. You think it's too into this?
There were a few psychedelic pages in there.
Yeah. Let's talk about those because I've got a screen grab. There we go.
Oh yeah. Looks phenomenal.
So never having read any Grant Morrison things, all I've done is heard what Phil and you guys have said. So and I think was it last week Phil said something about get your need to get right in the mood for this kind of stuff, and I was like, what does he mean? And then I saw this page. This page also comes out of nowhere. Like the page before this, it doesn't have any indication that this is coming up. This kind of mental radical kind of page, but I wasn't expecting it at all.
He plays a flute, doesn't he? And the forest spirits kind of like reach out to him. That's why I think you see that hand.
He also because if you look in the page before, he's cooking up some food and there are mushrooms in the pot. So I was wondering, like, is he tripping? And does he have to trip to play the flute to call these spirits? I don't know, but
I think it's that standard trope, though, isn't it? Kind of like the Native Americans took peyote, and then they would have that kind of vision, and I think it's playing on that kind of vibe in this book with him and that spiritual connection. And I think it worked well for Santa to have some sort of kind of like spiritual connection to the other world. Like I think it kind of worked.
But the thing with that artwork, I thought it was great. The fact that the story's it's obviously set in like a grim, dark, dire village, and it's snowy and whatever. And then you have this bombastic kind of contrast in the artwork. I thought it was great.
Yeah, Liam saying here he did notice that at the beginning Jonas was pretty much the double of his dad. So at that point they were on the same level, and the book goes, they grow, as you said, in opposite directions. I'd never consciously realised that until we were just having this conversation.
Yeah, same.
And can I just say a hello to Greyman here as well, who's joined us.
Hi, buddy.
I will say the only problem I had with the art was the tripping scenes with the spirits, because I felt the spirits looked too alien and less magical. They were very much the regular grey alien with the the plain face and the big eyes, and that's the only thing that I didn't like about the art. Everything else is lovely.
I felt bad for basically slagging off Scott's friend Van Mora, so I had to Google this. Yeah, I Googled this after. He's Tom's best mate, isn't he? And I had to Google this after, and it's actually quite a common critique of this on his book, that the art is inconsistent. However, it is one of his earlier books. Like I say, he won the best newcomer. So he's now refined his artwork, I'm sure, by now. So,
but to be honest, I know we're talking about a different book, but like Once and Future, he drew quite a bit of stuff for Once and Future, and there is that kind of still, if characters are far away, they're not, they don't have the best detail, but I think that's fine.
Maybe he can't do smaller detail. Maybe he can only do on larger models. He can give a face the proper detail that it deserves, and then when they're in the background, he just
like for instance when
some of those panels that were far away, like they confused me. I think there was one fight scene, and forgive me, I can't remember which issue it was in. I think it's the bit where when the captain is kind of taken hostage and he's supposed to meet with him, and then he goes to that the trap that they've laid for him, and then they're on the stairs, and I couldn't work out which one was the guard and which one was Klaus. On the stairs.
I was all right with that. There's just 5, I think that is.
There was a scene at the end when he wins the battle with the demon at the end, and the demon comes traveling back to Earth. I didn't know if it was the body or the head that was coming back. I had to go back a page.
Body. Yeah.
I had to go back, and then I had to look at it again. I had to zoom in. It wasn't very clear. It was
you do have to look closely, and you can see the body is kind of like curled up like in a cannonball kind of thing, like his knees are tucked into its chest and kind of thing.
That's why I was a bit they're minor gripes. When the art's that nice, all you can find is minor gripes.
Again, I found this to look very Disney-esque in parts as well. There's that one scene at the end of issue 1, the big full panel page where he finds the bag of toys and he's like, what am I supposed to do now? You know, like that looked very Disney, didn't it? It had the little bluebird and the wolf. What was the wolf's name? Lily. Was it?
Lily,
yeah. I thought some of that stuff was beautiful. This had those splash pages, and the full pages were beautiful. They were glorious, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. I thought that too, that they, like, I'm trying to find the picture for you, but it's the part where he first gets his sleigh and is it 8 wolves? Is there 8?
Yeah.
8 wolves, and like it's just like it's all dark and fairy. There's a battle scene and there's just him, this kind of glowing silver kind of, and it looks fantastic.
That's issue 7, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So cool. I saw that and I was like, why can't Santa's sleigh look like that? You know what I mean? Like, you know, all the stuff we see on TV and stuff. That is so cool, so badass.
I actually did. I have got another screen grab there. There's the image I was talking about, the kind of Disney-esque looking, you know, with the little bluebird and all of that there.
Even the look on the wolf's face there, Lily's face, it's quite cartoony and Disney-esque, isn't it? Like just kind of the kind of dopey kind of look.
I've always,
but I think that the colours in that though were amazing. In this, everything, because you think if you're doing art based in snow, there's a chance that could be very, very boring. Because you're going to use like a lot of those tones, aren't you? Like white or light blues and things like that. I never found that with this at all. Like boring would not be a word I would choose to describe any of the art in this book.
The thing as well, look, that strikes me is that everything I've known about Santa Claus and how he looks in this book, Santa Claus is an extremely handsome fella. He's a
badass.
Yeah, and he's tough and he's hard and he's soft. He cares about the kids and stuff. It's just like.
Did anybody else think that this, like, if Conan had like a love child, like, do you think Klaus would be there?
Santa and Conan.
Yeah,
that would be.
Yeah, I think that was another thing. Like, don't make Santa hot. I don't want to think of Santa being hot. Okay, that's not what I need. Okay, just make him.
Just badass. He's just cool. But to be honest, like, if you're gonna have an origin story in it, it's gonna be before he is round and jolly, and before all the cookies and stuff, and but
like a chubby like dwarf, you know, like with a big axe and stuff. He still could have been badass.
Did you
so handsome?
Did you see the variant covers for this?
Yeah.
So they've got a lot of them where they make him look like proper, you know, chubby white beard Santa, and they're really cool. But one thing I did want to say about Dan Mora, because he's the best artist ever, that he's so good at drawing emotions, and you know, especially when you had that page up then with the Disney-esque kind of thing. But he's so good at drawing like an animated face. So towards the end, with the first page that you've shown, where Magnus was going a bit mental, and I can't remember. Basically, Mrs. Claus. The faces there, they're just great. Yeah. But yeah, he's just so good at just drawing animated faces.
Yeah, and I'll say as well that we're talking about him being a badass and like making jokes of like, you know, Santa and Conan's love child or something, but he's extremely likable in this.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't any point where I was kind of like, I'm not on Klaus's side. Like all the way, I was loving Klaus. And equally, Baron Magnus is just as kind of like hateful as a villain. Like you kind of love to hate him, don't you? You're like, he was a really good bad guy.
There was no reason for it though. Like I didn't feel like even in the backstory there was no build up to him being like that. So he was just seemed to always just be nasty. Like there was no. Nothing happened in any of the flashbacks.
I took his character to be the kind of to epitomize greed, in terms of like when he was younger, he always wanted the girl, Dagmar. So he said he's a spell to get her to love him, so on. He then killed the Baron at the time. He became the new Baron, and he sentenced Klaus to exile, whatever. I took his characters kind of showcasing greed at Christmas time. This is what happens if you're a greedy git, and the son obviously was just following. That's what I took his character for.
I kind of like that. I never really thought about that. I just enjoyed him, as a villainous character in the book. But yeah, that kind of makes sense that he does embody that, as Klaus kind of represents selflessness and like giving and generosity and love. He kind of embodies all the opposite of that, doesn't he? Like greed and all those things, that are counter to that. Yeah, I never thought about that. Well done, Phil, man.
I don't know if I'm right. Just a hunch, just a wee guess. That's what I took from it anyway.
His sword. I love that he was so weak and pathetic as well.
Yeah, he was one of those bad guys, wasn't he? Where he wasn't kind of like equaled in strength, but he was kind of like he was kind of feeble, wasn't he? But he was just so kind of sticky as a villain.
Conniving.
Yeah, he wasn't very nice. Going on to the monster though that Shane mentioned, I loved the monster, and I kind of liked the way he was drawn. It kind of like it was very traditional, like Krampus kind of. When you see the image of that kind of when it's done as a monster, it reminded me of that. But the only issue I had with it was like, why? Like, where did it come from? Like, what was it supposed to be doing?
It's the heart of Grimsvig, isn't it?
Yeah. I googled this after, and not knowing too much about Krampus, but essentially in European folklore, he is the opposite of Santa. He wants to punish kids who are misbehaving, and he is a half goat, half demon. Because I was really confused. I think, why is this all of a sudden this weird looking thing coming out of the wall or the coal mines?
So it was based on Krampus.
Yeah, it is Krampus,
not just visually, but the kind of the whole being itself there.
And he just fills it up with children.
Yeah.
But saying the opposite of Santa, doesn't Santa already punish naughty kids by giving them coal?
But he doesn't eat them.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, he does get fat and jolly, so maybe he is. We don't know about it. That's something the Coca-Cola are hiding from us all.
Don't say that. It's Christmas, man. Santa. Any children watching this? Santa does not eat children.
There was
Uncle Phil is playing.
There was a scene though where Klaus, in the midst of battle, fighting Krampus at the end, he did shout, "There are no bad kids."
Yeah.
Towards the end, so maybe he just doesn't believe that kids can be bad, even though we all know they can.
Yeah, he's not. It lived in 2020, has he? So he doesn't know.
I liked the ending to this though. I thought it was quite
sad.
It was quite emotional. Yeah. The
humble,
way
I think
that I wish I'd have taken a screen grab of that as well. And it's time passes, doesn't it? He's dancing with, again, we can't remember her name. We'll just call her Mrs. Claus.
It's Dagmar.
What was her name? Dagmar. That was it. Yeah. He's dancing with her, and the narration says, like overtime or whatever. And then you see the next panel, and she's older, and then she's about to die then as well, isn't she? There we go. Phil's got it.
So nice that.
But the thing about this, right? The thing that got me at the ending, he's like, "Oh no, my wife's dead. I'm gonna go now. Bye, son of mine. For the past at least 20 years, I will only see you once a year now. Bye." He just gave up on his new family to just go and be Santa.
Yeah. Just a quick one here, Greg. He's saying that Krampus is essentially the Hades of European Christmas. There you go. That will make sense.
Yeah. I feel like he just gave up on his family too quickly. The rest of his family. As soon as Dagmar died, he was like, "Bye."
He got jobs to do, man. He got presents to deliver all over the world.
Was he not doing that while he was married to her, or while he?
I didn't think that he was. I thought that's what that ending was. He was all like, "Right, I'm off to, do good in the rest of the world. I've fixed Grimsvig. I'm going to go and do the world."
Just left his son.
Gotta be honest though, Grimsvig people were all a bunch of losers, really, weren't they?
And his son at this point was like what, 40-ish years old, I reckon. Judging by the grey on the side.
So he's been his son for 30 years, and now he's just like, bye.
Yeah, but come on, if your son is a 40-year-old man,
yeah,
you're going to be okay with leaving him.
And the thing is, too, like in that panel that was just showed, like where everyone's aging, it shows you from the first one to the last. Like, there's kids in the shot, and they're growing old and having their own kids. So it's not like he doesn't have his own life. Jonas, he has his own thing to do now, and you know, he wants to bring joy to the whole world, not just Grimsvig. So
I know. I just felt he just left him too quickly. Like, I just thought there was nothing there. He was literally just following that.
Like Scott, he was in his 40s.
Well, Jonas is probably as barren now.
A son.
Why is that worse?
Because if you've been his father for 30 years and now you're just going to literally say goodbye and just...
Yeah, but he's still his dad. He said he's going to come back once a year. That's nice.
Oh, that's fine then. Yeah, everyone...
Look, he's a 40-year-old man. He's got his own stuff to do.
Well, when you just said he's going to come back once a year, at least he sees him more than I see my dad. So do you know why he should come?
The thing is, too, that he's left Jonas, but Jonas is probably the new Baron of the town. I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be too corrupt.
I just feel like there should have been a conversation where he's just like, look, I'm going to go. He's like, you don't need me anymore. You're all grown up. The children of the world need me. But he was literally in his sleigh. And then Jonas comes and he's like, oh, you're going. And he's like, yeah, bye. There's nothing. There was no conversation. He was already packed and ready to go when Jonas found him.
See ya.
Right, you okay?
If Jonas hadn't shown up, he wouldn't even have said goodbye. He'd have just been gone.
Yeah, see, Greyman's got a point. Some kids don't see their parents more than once a year. Got a point. Like, I didn't see any problem with that part at the end.
Well, then maybe you should all go hug your fathers.
You tell me where he is, I will.
Moving on.
So, I do want to say one thing as well. As I love this book, I'm not going to lie, really enjoyable. I sat down and read it in one go, so it clearly kept my interest.
The only
I think I read it across 3 sittings. I think I read the last issue today, so I did 3 and then 3 and then 1.
I literally couldn't stop. I was literally, as soon as it finished, I was like, next page, next page, next page. But I don't think the flashbacks did it any justice. I don't think they were needed at all. They were very blah and boring, and they didn't add anything. I thought the flashbacks were going to lead up to him being Jonas's dad, and they didn't. And it was just, for me, cut all that out, and you could have knocked a whole issue off this. I don't think it was needed. I think we knew all we needed to know about Jonas and about Dagmar from current day. So
but I like the flashback in terms of the connection with Magnus, Klaus, and Dagmar, because, like I say, Magnus was a bit of a jackass from the get-go, from when he was young. And I quite like the idea to set that up, that the 3 of them have a good history together. And
just to adjust the comments here, sorry, Scott, before you start talking. Amy saying, in the Netflix film Klaus, when the wife dies, Klaus is doing it because he's fulfilling his wife's wish to be a father to all children of the world, hence the name Father Christmas. That makes sense.
Netflix and Phil.
Highly recommend seeing that film, by the way.
It's a great film. It's a really warming film to watch.
So is this film based on the comic book?
No. It's a totally different thing, but it's called Klaus. But it's a really good watch. I definitely recommend it. Yes, it's animated. Yeah, it's really good. What was I gonna say? I can't remember, mate.
You tell us.
Yes, about the origin. So yeah, I think those flashbacks were, like, I thought they were quite necessary. It shows us how he, began living in the wild and why he was living in the wild and not in Grimsvig. And I think it was, when they were having the discussion about what to include in the book, I reckon it was a discussion of, if we don't put it in, people will be like, why is he living in the wild? How does he know these people? And then, like,
I agree with you there, Scott. I feel the exact same. I felt that those flashbacks they kind of came full circle. Like the fact that, like, when he, bumps into, what was her name? Dagmar again.
Dagmar.
Yeah. When he bumps into her.
Should we write it down?
Like I was kind of surprised, like, oh, he knows her? Like, like I kind of liked all of that stuff when it kind of clicked into place.
I think sometimes you've got to trust the reader though as well. Not everything has to be laid out for you. And I think when he sees Dagmar and you realize they know each other, but you knew this before because she had a little bird that he had made her. So you knew there was a history there.
But then you also find out in the flashback why she has the bird.
Yeah, and like I say, I wasn't at first when the flashback started because I thought it was building to him being the kid's dad, and I thought, oh, twist. He's the kid of this little. He's the dad of this little shit who is a horrible little brat that needs us kicking. You know what I mean, I thought, what a great twist that Santa's kid needs a kicking on Christmas, but he wasn't. And I thought,
I've just got to say, like, for tomorrow's Instagram caption for the rewind, that's the quote right there. Santa's kid needs a kicking.
Thing too, not to be too critical, because again, I was almost trying to find points specifically to find critique for the book. It's going to sound strange. It's not really original stuff. It's quite generic. Actually, there's a lot of Game of Thrones vibes going on throughout the book.
Like medieval.
Yeah, kind of like the wolf. Even, I don't know if you watch Game of Thrones. The wolf, Lily, the big white wolf, who's his companion. Like the same thing with Jon Snow in Game of Thrones. So, and then even like a lot of Batman Year One stuff when he was in the kind of stealthy, over the rooftop, sipping over the ropes and so on. But it was just done. It was just done. Like who thinks of writing a Santa Claus origin story and makes him a good-looking badass who makes his own toys and delivers them to the chin? It's just mental. Like, it's class. I loved it. But that's the only thing.
Go on.
Just loved the book from cover to cover, and I'm almost trying to find things to pick at it, but I can't even do that.
No, I did down chimneys. I just have to say that. I love that he tried on the doorstep, and then everyone was watching to catch him. Yeah. And like, now how do I deliver?
I've got this here. My favorite, where the guard just says, "Whoever this impossible character is, he won't get away with it again. Let our invisible beast man find some other way to deliver his magical toys." And then it's a double-page spread of all the chimney tops.
Yes.
And I've made, these was in my notes. That's one of the things I loved about this book is that it's like they didn't forget about anything.
Yeah.
They put an explanation in there, like you just said there about the chimneys. It's like, that's why Santa uses the chimney. I thought all of that was just lovely. It was a really lovely touch. Like, it wasn't needed. Yeah. Not really, but it made it extra nice for me.
Like, I think it shows that they didn't write the story and then chuck these bits in. Yeah, they put these bits in and then wrote around it to give it that flow and kind of natural. Like, okay, so like we're getting all the bits that we know about Santa, but it's done really well, and it's not just just put that bit in there, that bit.
Even with the outfits, the uniform of the guards, they're the red and the white kind of fur around it. That's actually Santa Claus.
More like Santa's outfit as it was going on.
Yeah,
she was
I noticed that.
I thought it was great.
I don't know if it's
the white and the for people that may not have read it. The white and the red explains that's the colours of Grimsvig, isn't it? That's their kind of city colours. Yeah.
I don't know if it's me looking too much into it, but I don't know if anyone knows. I hope they do. But like, Santa is originally, like our Santa, he's green. His outfit is green, and he's only red and white because of the Coca-Cola adverts. So I don't know if like he was wearing that kind of green tank top at the start to kind of add to that and to add to that transition from the original green to the Coca-Cola red and white.
I hadn't thought of that. That's a good observation, Scott.
Well done, then.
Yeah,
Scott, you've got your A game this week.
You're all week. It's because I enjoyed the book.
Yeah.
You mean you didn't enjoy Marvel Christmas Carol Zombies? No.
It was yeah.
Let's not get into that. Let's not get into that.
That's the thing. Just confirm what we're saying about taking everything we know about Santa and making it this own story. It's in contrast to Batman Noel and to Zombie Christmas Carol that we know that story and they try to adapt it and they didn't do too well. This does, granted it's a smaller kind of mythos to put into everything, but it fits perfectly well through this whole story.
Yeah.
As opposed
It
to
does.
like the Christmas Carol.
I kind of want to know now what happens to the wolves and why he has reindeer. So like, I hope nothing happens to the wolves, and I hope they're still living nice and secure in the North Pole. But giving them a rest because now he's got reindeer.
Yeah, maybe just keeps them all. You know, like the Queen has got corgis, he's just got loads of wolves.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just gonna say that, well, according to the cover of issue 1, it doesn't end well for reindeer. I mean, he's carrying that across his back, isn't he? Like, let's just get that so people can see it. Look, he's carrying a dead reindeer.
Ho ho ho!
See, that's the thing as well. This is probably Grant Morrison and Dan Moore doing this on purpose, having the wolves as the kind of carriers of the sleigh, and having that image of him with the dead reindeer around his shoulders. Like, he's just saying, screw reindeers, we're going with wolves. This is what we're going to do.
Ooh.
Yeah. Let me just say hello to 3G joining us as well, giving them a wave back there. How you doing, mate? Yeah, I thought it was it was really well written for me. I did have a few issues with some of the art that we talked about there, but as far as the writing goes, I kind of got to agree with Phil. Like, I had not read this or heard much about it. I've heard people say you should read it, but I was expecting a bit more of a mind bender, you know, given Grant Morrison was on the book. So I was completely surprised when I saw that kind of Disney-esque artwork. And I'm like, really? Is it the Grant Morrison? Is there not like another Grant Morrison? Like,
yeah, completely tame for anything I've ever read of Grant Morrison before.
And so coherent. I mean, you could just follow the story from start to finish. I wasn't lost at all, and I was like, that's not right. I should have had to go back several pages because I missed something.
Some of Grant Morrison stuff I need to reread quite a lot, to be honest.
Even though this is the first time I'm reading Grant Morrison, I'm assuming this still isn't the first time I've read Grant Morrison.
No, you haven't read Grant Morrison.
correct.
Okay, I can't wait.
I think back saying like how well the writing is done in this book, the scene with Dagmar playing with
it was great.
What's the song called? Jonas. Because he's just a brat, just smashing everything, and she brings in the new toy and straight away just wants to throw it on the floor and break it, and she's like, well, you could do that, but then the story's over.
Well, that's the thing. No one's obviously taking the time to play with him. Like, no one's taking that time. His dad's obviously an evil baron trying to drain the life out of the village, so his mum took the time to show him how to play. I loved that. I loved that.
The way she explained it, like, we'll play, he could be whatever you want and we can play this, and he's like, well, then I'll just him.
Yeah, he didn't understand it though. Like,
I have two things to address here. First is Greg's comment that says, when I saw that cover, I thought it was a Sly Stallone movie waiting to happen. And secondly, this was one of the questions I wanted to ask you guys. You know the villain, Baron Magnus there? There's that one part where they're kind of implying that the noise coming from deep down in the mines is inside of his head, like it's all driven by his own madness. And then it turns out that it's not like the beast is real and stuff. So I was like, is he mad? Is he not? Like,
they tried that, but it didn't really work because they kept saying, well, all the miners, they're scared of the voice. They're scared of the voice. And then they keep saying, well, ignore the voice and keep working. So they could hear it too. So then for them to try and say it's in his head, we know it's not because all the miners are hearing it.
Okay, so it's not just me that had an issue with that, because I thought that's me being a bit slow. I thought there's something I'm missing here.
No, I think it was Dagmar that tried to tell him it was in his head, which did make sense for her. She'd never been down the mine, so she wouldn't have heard it.
Yeah.
So she was lying to him.
Maybe she was only hearing it. Maybe he was only hearing it whenever he went down. And then, but he could only call it the voice because he doesn't know what it is.
No, because she hadn't been down the mines. But that scene should have been before we saw the miners hearing the voice. Yeah. And then we could have thought, oh, he's...
You see, Grant Morrison as well quite often writes villains that are almost like redeemable. Like they could become good or give them like a reason why they're so bad. And with the Baron Magnus, it's almost the same. Like, he is driven mad by this voice, and he's doing these things because he believes the voice is going to give him this power to kill the king, so he can become king and Dagmar become queen. So that's obviously like sort of the thing earlier on with greed. Like, he has this greed, and the voice or Krampus is kind of feeding on that to try and drive him this certain way. I'm not saying he's a good guy. Magnus, but it's almost like he's made to do these things, and it kind of gives him a redeemable kind of.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? Because I think you start off thinking that a lot of this is. I think he thinks that he's driving this, doesn't he? He's the one kind of like, I'm going to unleash the beast and I'm going to control stuff and all of that. Yeah. And you kind of see at the end that it's not that at all, is it? It's the beast
that's promising him these things.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't get as well, another thing that confused me was when the beast kind of reveals that and he says like, oh, like you don't control me. He like looks in the book and the beast, the image has vanished, and it doesn't quite explain why that's vanished or like how
didn't
that's
understand
happened.
that. Yeah.
I thought I took that as he was trapped in the book, but also in the mine. So like freeing him from the mine freed him from the book. I thought
like his spirit or something was his soul.
The mine, but his spirit was in the book. That's just what I took, but it could be completely wrong.
Who knows?
Yeah, I think that's kind of open to interpretation, isn't that? Because there's that lack of explanation there. Just addressing Liam's comment here. He says, I think he's going back to the Dagmar thing about the voice inside the Baron's head. It might have been to act as a point of how Dagmar is out of touch with her people. If she'd have spoken to them, then she'd have known it wasn't just the Baron hearing the voice. Yeah. That's a good point as well. Yeah, that's good.
The people do try to attack her at the end. They try to get her and her son.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good. That's a good point.
But Krampus goes straight after Jonas when he breaks in, and Magnus, for a split second, tries to defend his son, but then rather than save his son, he goes after Klaus again. So when he almost is about to do something to redeem himself, protect his family, to show he is a good person, he takes the opportunity to try and kill Klaus, and you're like, your son's in a bag. Maybe save it.
Klaus is the only chance you have. Yeah.
Going back to the Game of Thrones vibe there you mentioned there, Phil. Like that kid, like definitely reminds you of Joffrey, doesn't he?
A little bit of Joffrey. Yeah.
Definitely a bit of Joffrey.
A wee asshole, like
yeah, just a little kid you want to kick.
Yeah. I think Phil's quite right. There was a Game of Thrones thing in there. So I think if you're a fan of that Game of Thrones vibe and you're kind of like Christmas and you want a Christmas read thing, this is probably got all of that for you.
Definitely for you, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I loved that. I thought it was great.
Yeah. Okay, so shall we do final thoughts and scores then?
God, that time's gone.
Well, hang on. I got to take the glasses off to put them back on again.
It's so much thicker when we talk about a book we like.
I think we could easily talk for another half hour to another hour easy in this book, to be honest. There's still quite a lot we probably haven't covered. You need to read it. Everyone read this book.
We found that though, don't we? So some books that there is a lot more to talk about than there is on certain other ones as well. Doing this, and I think you are right. There's a lot in this, so let's do it then. Let's get down to final thoughts and scores. So we went that way last time, so let's go this way. And why we do this, folks? If you have read Klaus, drop your score 1 to 10. You are allowed decimal 0.5s. Drop it in the chat, and we'll take an average of what your score is as well.
Only if you've read.
Over to you. Yeah, only if you've read.
Yeah. Like it's harder to talk about a book that you like. It's harder to like summarize it. With a book you don't like, you can just smash that and go right 2 out of 10. But then with this book, it was just an enjoyable read from start to finish. It's just incredible art. I don't know if I'm being biased, but just a little bit. But it was just wonderful and magical. And I've never read an origin of Santa like this before. And it was so clever how they kept all of his characteristics in there and built them in around the story, but then had him looking like the way he did, and it was just fantastic. And I think because of the kind of story they were trying to tell, the way he looked felt normal. It didn't feel out of place. But yeah, story was fantastic. The characters, the development of there. I really like the way, when we talked about how Jonas kind of came away from that kind of evil looking and got to a more nicer Disney-esque kind of look, and just that was quite nice to see that development throughout the book. And some of the other characters had that as well, like Magnus. And yeah, it was just really good. Krampus, I know it was never confirmed that it was Krampus, but we can probably safe to say that it is. That was cool. I loved the lettering of that as well. You know,
God, yeah, we never mentioned that. Yeah,
that itself,
or carnage almost, wasn't it?
Yeah, that itself gave it a really cool voice for me to like read with. And yeah, it's a fantastic Christmas read for anyone who, you know, for those type of people who love to watch Christmas movies at Christmas time. For people who love comics, this is a book you can go to every year to read a Christmas book at Christmas time, and it's fantastic. And if it looks as good as the one that Phil has, I'm definitely picking that up, and that's that's awesome. But I'm going to give this 8.5 out of 10.
Ooh. 8.5 out of 10.
And I cannot wait for the next volumes. We have to do those next year.
Yeah, maybe we should.
Yeah.
Shane, final thoughts and scores from you, please, sir.
I really enjoyed this. I absolutely loved it. Like I say, it's nitpicky stuff with me, because when something's this good, it's nitpicky, tiny little things that you notice because everything else is so good. So I can't fault this book for what it is. It wanted to tell a story. It told a story. You can stop right here. You don't have to continue, but I mean, obviously I want to, because I want to know what happens to these wolves and why he's got reindeer now. So I'm going to continue. But it was just so well done. And for 7 issues, it flew by. I sat there in one evening and I just read issue after issue because I didn't want to stop. And that shows you how good the previous issue was. Because if it started to slow down or get boring, I'd be like, well, I'll read the rest tomorrow. It never did. It was fantastic. The art is great. I mean, sexy Santa. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I don't need sexy Santa, but I've got sexy Santa, so I'll take it.
It's Stallone Santa now, isn't it? According to Greg. Stallone Santa.
The North Pole Stallion. So yeah, the art is gorgeous. The faces, I'm very particular with my faces in comic books. I either love them or I hate them, and these are faces I absolutely love.
Oh, yes.
Great, art great. This is a 9 for me. Simple.
Ooh, a 9. It's a 9.
I will be rereading this book.
Phil, over to you then, mate.
It's pretty much everything that's been said. Like as Shane was saying, it's nitpicky stuff. It was good cover to cover, and you're almost trying to find a fault in it. And there were a few things that make you think could have been done better. Even to the point where I'd never really understood what happened to his mother. Like, she died frozen,
She was
and
frozen.
Yeah, but like, why was she out there with a baby? Like, do you know what I mean? There's just stuff that wasn't really explained. And of course, he survived because the warmth of his heart. I quite like that bit, but again, it would have been nicer if like the spirits of the ice and forest were responsible for that. I don't think they were. It's like a separate thing.
Maybe we'll get a flashback in a future volume.
Yeah, possibly. And like I say, I loved it that much that I have ordered the second volume. It's on its way. It should be here tomorrow. I'm probably going to read it before Christmas. The 3rd volume comes out in
Wait
February.
for us, Phil.
No, I'm not. It's Christmas. The 3rd volume comes out in February. I'm probably going to buy that as well when it comes out straight away. I'm going to read it. And as I said before, like, this is a book that I kind of hope to have on the shelf, and I will read every year, getting that Christmas feel. And yeah, art was great, story was great. It's nitpicky stuff, but yeah, absolutely loved it. Yeah, I was debating my score. It's kind of increased since, so I'm going to give it a 9. Because since we've talked about it, it's maybe liked it more. It was an 8.5, which is still high, but talking about it now, I've realised it's a 9.
Do we agree on something, Phil?
That's strange.
Get out of town.
It is Christmas. Come on, anything can happen. You know. It was great. It was a great.
I can thanks for that, guys. I've got all your scores there. I can see we've got a from Liam. 100% agree with Scott. It's an 8.5 out of 10 for him.
That's nice.
Too.
Thanks.
So that's the only score we've got so far. So
Great.
maybe that's where it's going to be for the chat. Yeah. So just I haven't really got too much to add to that. I mean, I think you've all covered it great. I don't disagree with anything you guys have said there. I found it quite lovely, the artwork. to look at, very sweet. Even though this is the story of a kind of badass Santa, it was still quite a lovely and sweet story, which that's kind of nice to have that balance anyway. There were some things that confused me, as I said, both artwork and story. So there was a few things there that kind of like, and again, but like Shane said, this is nitpicky stuff. Like for folks watching, don't think I'm kind of hammering a nail into it. It's very small stuff, and it doesn't take any of the like enjoyability away from it.
No.
I thought everything was great, even the monster turning up and stuff at the end. I can't fault it. This was just an incredibly sweet book. It's got everything you want in there. It's got some action. It's got the Christmas vibe, and it's got one of the big important things for me, and that's a lot of emotion, a lot of feelings.
It
Yeah, it is a heart warmer. Yeah, it's a heart warmer. This story, most
I think when you said the word "lovely," that sums it up. To be honest,
think it is the right word to use, isn't it? It's quite a lovely feeling to this story. So for me, it's gonna have to be. Given where everything else falls and my enjoyment level of this, it's an 8 for me.
I thought it would be, Dean. I felt that coming through.
Was you feeling eight vibes? Was it?
8 vibes, yeah.
The grey man here is saying they'll do a Klaus retcon. The Dark Klaus returns.
Yes,
and I'd read that too.
Yeah.
And Tom's asking you, Phil. He said, "Phil, let him know where you're getting the trades from. He wants to pick them up."
This book, for the podcast listeners, it's not going to do much justice, but this book does look pretty premium, and I think it actually added to the experience of me reading this book, to be honest. So I'd recommend everyone to get it.
Old Christmas books, isn't it? Like it's like reading an old Dickens book. Yeah, hard, old-timey Christmas book. It's
right. Listen, kids, we've got to work out where this fits on our leaderboard now.
Who knew?
Right. So
going to be
we got one score in the chat, and that was our man Liam, and Liam gave this an 8.5. So the average from the chat is 8.5. That's what they've scored it there. And for us, let's see where it falls on our Nerd Herd leaderboard. If I can press the right buttons here, there's the Nerd Herd leaderboard. And we got this at an average of our scores, 8.6. So this is joint second place with Pulp. Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow.
Oh, Dave off the top spot. Oh.
So, yeah, Dave is... well, technically, Dave is still number 5 there. It's a shared... This is shared second place, isn't it, really, with Pulp? So it's still up there.
Well deserved. This is awesome. Great pick, Phil.
I only pick good books. Come on.
Oh no, that's not true, though, is it? Let's not pretend.
Maximum Carnage.
Carnage.
Yeah. And I give that an 8.5.
Right, you guys.
Christmas. That's the new rules. Phil's only allowed to pick at Christmas.
Right, and before we go, folks, and we wrap up, I just want to say, as I said at the beginning of this, there's going to be a chance for you guys to come and join us if you want to for the read along and review. So next week, at the end of next week, review an episode, we will ask you to drop in the story arcs that you want us to read. Only one recommendation per person, so we will take the first one that you put in there. It needs to be 15 issues or under, or if it's a trade, it needs to be under 200 pages. Those are the rules, because we do have lives and we have stuff to do, and we do only have a week to read this. So we'll be asking you to do that next week, and we will pick it at random. We'll put it on a spinning wheel thing, and whoever wins, you can come and join us that following week on the 30th and join the discussion if you want to, of course. And whether you do or whether you don't, you will get something for participating and joining us as a thank you from us to you for coming and hanging out and joining in with all the nerd talk with us every week. We do appreciate it. We really do. And as I said, it's the highlight of my week.
Mine too.
Yes. We should add that if you do pick Secret Wars 2, you will not get a thing. Nothing. Nothing comes your way.
He's talking to you.
No way.
Saga's a good shite. Oh man.
So we've got a few suggestions of Read Saga, Secret Wars 2. Yeah, so save them for next week, and we will do the spinny wheel thing, and we'll see what comes out.
I wonder.
Sorry, mate.
No, I'm just wondering. Amy's picked Saga. Who knows Amy? What choice is it really, Scott?
Scott's looking casually around.
Some shenanigans coming on.
I'm gonna have my laptop.
I've never read Saga
next week lined up with different accounts. I'm gonna just comment the books I want next week.
I will say,
Klaus
I'm
2.
okay with Saga because I've just ordered the massive compendium that's got the whole 54 issues in it.
Yeah.
Up 50.
So
I'm not reading 54 issues for this. No.
No, we'll only read volume 1. Don't panic.
But you should read the 54 issues of Saga. You should. Everyone should.
Okay, folks, let's wrap it up then. Let's do what we usually do, and you guys can let people know what you've got going on your own YouTube channels this week. Which way around did we go last time?
I don't know.
Let's go this way. Oh no, okay, Phil, volunteering. You got it.
Okay, I'll start because I don't have anything planned. I've nothing coming up, so it's fairly easy. I will be appearing on. I hope I'm appearing on Panels and Pints this Saturday over on Comic Deals channel. So that's about it for me. Nothing else planned but that.
Okay, Shane.
Same. Hopefully, I'll be on Panels and Pints on Saturday to say hello to the lads. I still have my advent calendar until the 24th. Stop by, see what Ushis are coming out. And on Monday, I had my quiz with these 3 fine gentlemen and 5 other contestants playing along. So that's
What quiz? What quiz?
Oh, that's right. Yes, that quiz.
I've blocked it from my memory.
I will say it was very good fun, Shane. And I know I already thanked you, but thank you for inviting us all on.
It was coming on without contestants. I'm just a guy asking questions to nobody. So thank you. I'll just be like this emoji all the time. Like no.
if you want to see a man struggle with not my elbow. A portmanteau, then go watch Shane's quiz because I am dreadful at these things, man. I've got to swat up. I really am.
You'll see 8 men struggle with portmanteaus if you go over and watch my quiz.
I'm so bad. I'm so bbad at it.
That's the best part, though. Whenever no one can do it, that is the best part.
That's why I love that round so much. Just the confusion on 8 grown men's faces is priceless.
Anything else from you then, Shane? This week.
That's me this week.
Before we get to Scott, let me just say hello to Martin there. How you doing, mate? Hope you're well. Scott, this week, for you.
Not appearing on Panels and Pints this Saturday. I think my invite must have got lost in the, I don't know, in Instagram or something. I don't know. But I am appearing on Comic Deal tomorrow for his crossover discussion for crossover issue 2. Personally, I don't have anything coming up for the rest of the year, but I'm working on some nice projects for January and February. And that'll be really fun. So do keep an eye, and if you haven't subscribed to me, just subscribe, and so you can just keep an eye.
And yes, I will say though, if you aren't subscribed to the chaps here as well, go subscribe to them. Not just on YouTube, but hit them up on Instagram as well. Drop them all a message because they're all lovely people and they will respond. And I can say firsthand, they're always happy to talk comics and nerdy stuff. 100%. So, reach out. Drop everyone a message.
Yesterday as well, I did my live backstory, and the rewind for that is now available. And it was fantastic. And all these 3 guys, they asked me questions amongst 6 other men who just wanted to ask me a lot of awkward questions. And well, not all of them, but it was a good laugh, and I really enjoyed it. And everyone who does watch it, I'm sure you'll have a great time as well.
I don't want to boast, but I think I stole the show. Just
yeah, I will say, when you watch Scott's show, watch it with the live chat on, which travels a lot.
It's brilliant.
And it's so much fun. Just get to watch people interacting while you watch it. It's fantastic.
Right, folks. What we will do is now tell you what we're reading next week. And Shane, you picked this one. So do you want to tell people?
Yes, it's a humbug from 451 Media. It's a 5-issue series. Well, 5-issue series.
5-issue series from 451 Media from 2015. Humbug.
Yes, it's fantastic. It's about Ebenezer Scrooge set after. No, don't worry. It's set after A Christmas Carol.
I don't know who Scrooge is.
Oh God, just the thought of another Christmas Carol. There you go, folks. So hopefully you'll come and join us for that. I've not read it before, so it's going to be interesting. I should imagine this is one not a lot of people may have read.
No,
so I'm excited by this one. So yeah, please, come and join us next week and find out about Humbug, and we'll all discover that together. Thank you very much for joining us today. And I want to say, I hope we're all gearing up now, and we've had a rubbish year. But I really do hope people have a good Christmas this year. We've got one more episode before the big day, so we'll see you all then, hopefully. But yeah, no matter who you are, where you are, what you got going on, I hope you have a good Christmas. And all that remains to be said then is get your Christmas waves out.
Oh, Christmas waves.
Oh, what's a Christmas wave?
It's a Christmas wave.
Ho, ho, ho.